I am Maria Garcia de Fleury. Saint Anthony of Padua is one of the most famous saints in the Church, even though he lived only 35 years. He was born in Lisbon, Portugal, and named Ferdinand. At the age of 15, he entered the Augustinian monastery, where he trained in theology. At the age of 25, he was impressed by 5 Franciscans beheaded in Morocco, whose bodies were taken to the abbey where he lived, and kneeling to pray in front of them, he said, "If I can go to Morocco and imitate these brothers, I will join them." This is how he joined the Franciscan friars, assuming the name of Anthony in honor of St. Anthony the Hermit. He did not make it to Morocco, but became an itinerant preacher in various Franciscan monasteries, as well as in churches and public squares. They called him the Hammer of Heretics, a blazing fire, because of the ardor with which he preached and converted those who were confused and those who were far from God. He was appointed provincial to the Franciscans in the northern Italy in 1228. 3 years later, he moved to live in Padua, where he lived until his death at 35 years. The number of miracles performed by St. Anthony is immense. Among the most famous are the miracle of the preaching to the fish when one Sunday people did not want to listen to him. The miracle of the donkey in the town of Rimini that had 3 days without eating, and they put a bale of hay, and St. Anthony appeared with the Eucharist, and the donkey, instead of eating the hay, knelt in front of the Eucharist. That day many were converted. In the city of Padua, in Italy, a young man named Leonard kicked his own mother in a fit of anger. Remorseful, he confessed his fault to St. Anthony, who told him, "The foot of the one who kicks his own mother deserves to be cut off." Leonard ran home and cut his foot. Aware of this, St. Anthony took the young man's amputated limb and miraculously reunited it to the body. The child Jesus appeared to St. Anthony, and that is why he is depicted carrying him. It is famous that the bread of St. Anthony is distributed on June 13 of every year as a reminder of the great charity he had for others. St. Anthony of Padua is asked to recover lost objects for health, for abundance, and above all, for finding true love. That is why they call him the Holy Matchmaker, because young people ask him to find a good husband or a good wife. Miraculously, more than 800 years after his death, his tongue and throat that praised God so much remains uncorrupted. It is interesting to know that the second appearance of Our Lady of Fatima to the three little shepherds was on June 13, but this time in 1917. And that day, Our Lady asked the little shepherds to pray the rosary daily and added, "Jesus wants to establish in the world devotion to my Immaculate Heart." It is not by chance that Our Lady appeared to children on one of the days that has been for 7 centuries the feast of St. Anthony of Padua, the saint of the world, one of the saints who has been most distinguished by his love to Our Lady. The request of God through Our Lady to consecrate himself to her Immaculate Heart is an express will of God. On June 13, 1231, St. Anthony of Padua received the last sacraments, sang a song to Our Lady, and before leaving the house for the house of the Father, he said, smiling, "I see our Lord coming." St. Anthony lived and died with the total certainty that with God we always win.